What I wanted to cover here too was we started weeks ago was somebody made a mention of like, hey, the dream, like you talked about having wanting to fight Mike Awesome, and then people started chiming in about like who they'd love to see you battle. So I wrote up a list of those comments that people made. So I figured we hit that again real quick. Somebody brought up in the comments section a while back was Kenny Omega. Obviously, he's one of the top stars, modern stars, and has put on some amazing matches. And people can be a polarizing wrestler for some because of the style that he wrestles and certain things like that. But how do you think you'd work with Kenny, and what do you think of him overall as a wrestler and performer?
I think that he's very talented, obviously, and he has great matches that entertain a lot of fans. And on the other side, I feel like he's representative of the new culture of wrestling, which I will divide specifically by saying that I'm from a culture of wrestlers that wrestled in front of a crowd that believed what they were seeing was a shoot. And then the new culture is wrestlers that came up wrestling in front of a crowd that thinks it's a work, so they give them a work.
Hmm. Yeah. So it's in the regards of, hey, the fans are in on this, and I am kind of allowing that, and they're aware of it. So it doesn't necessarily mean I can take some of the storytelling elements or the old school elements, the believable elements out of it in certain ways.
I mean, I feel like you're, that's your follow up. That's not putting those words
Yeah,
in.
that's I'm not putting words in your mouth.
For
I
me, it's not even the crowd being aware. It's more of just a perception that the crowd has, and then the perception that the entertainer has,
Mhm.
and then in fact, the result that comes from that being its true, real existence. In other words, uh, back in the day, we slapped the shit out of each other hard because that's what the style was for the crowd. But it wasn't about whether the crowd was in or not. We were really doing that because that's what we were doing. Likewise, wrestlers coming up now as fans, their perception is, hey, it's scripted, they're all working together. They come up, they get into it, they take over, they're working with fans that are even underneath them, another layer away from where we were, prospectively. And I see that the product and the end result that they give them is more of a manifestation of their thoughts of what it was. So go back to the Sheik that was ahead of me.
Mhm.
Um, they beat the crap out of each other, and they stabbed each other, and they made each other bleed, and that was part of it. That was part of it.
Yeah. So yeah, just how the style kind of lays out it's a different way for it. I get that.
Yeah, I mean, how they felt about each other, whether they were buddies or hated each other or whatever, ooh, big tongue in cheek, oh, I got the inside scoop, like, hey, big deal. They're performers, we're all performers. But specifically when it comes to the style, we always had an expression that we would describe somebody that was really good. That would be the compliment that I would want someone to say if someone said, "Hey, can Rob Van Dam work?" If someone in the industry said, "Dude, he could have a fucking good match with a broomstick," that was a way to describe talent back
Right.
then. However, we wouldn't want to actually have a match with a broomstick and show that we're having a match with a broomstick.
Right, right. Yeah.
It kind of exposes a little bit about what it is that you're doing when you're flipping and flopping and getting thrown around there. I don't think the broomstick's doing it to you.
No, the broomstick's not. That's not the. But you hear about like, hey, Ric Flair can do that kind of stuff. Rick Rude could do that stuff. It's like that's the reputation, but that's a huge compliment. But you don't want to exemplify that to the fans, I guess.
You want to go out there and show everybody,
Right.
like,
You don't want
yeah,
to.
I don't know, the Invisible Man match to me exposes a little bit. I'm pretty sure Sheik would have cut my throat if I told him I want to do an Invisible Man match.